I remember one of the first times I met him. Over 6 foot, over 250, 17-year-old young black man, big hair, big smile. I loved this guy. There's something about him, there was a joy in him, and our community just loved having him around. And like every other young man in his neighborhood, he had different forces pulling him, whether it was gangs, drugs, whatever it was in our community. He had all those things pulling on him, but he never went. So he had a neighbor that had introduced him to Christ. And because of that neighbor, because of the mentoring, he had a job. He had graduated high school. He had plans for college, and he was the prom king at his school. We were so excited for the story that he was writing. And I remember the day he was shot. I remember the morning. I remember the brokenness, the hurt and the pain that our community felt, that I felt. I remember looking up to God and saying, God, I'm not okay with this. We've got to do something. He hadn't given in to the narrative. He hadn't given in to the story. We need to rewrite it. You fast forward 5 years. I've now been on staff with FCA for 4 years, and I've gotten to work with some of the most amazing young people across this city. Young people who have dreams, who have visions, who have hope. But this narrative, this story is still the dominant one. These students, I work with too many athletes who believe they're going to be that 1% that makes it in the league. And if they don't, well, it's a mixtape or sell dope. But this young man had hope. He knew who he was in Christ. He knew who he was called to be. In FCA, we say that athletes lead, but direction matters. Imagine what would happen to our communities if athletes led on campus and rewrote that story for all of their friends, for all of their teammates. How that would change our schools, our community, and our culture. You know, in 4 years, FCA, we've grown from 1 huddle to 16 huddles. We've got 1 full-time staff, and we have a dream, we have a vision for the next 4 years that takes 1 full-time staff to 3 full-time staff and 8 part-time staff. And the reason I'm so excited about these 8 part-time staff is because this young man has been on the forefront of my mind. What would it look like to have young athletes working for FCA, where they wouldn't have to choose between having a job or playing on a team, where they could be encouraged, discipled, and challenged, and given a vision for who God has created them to be. That God has made them on purpose, for a purpose, to go out and to change the narrative of their community. We want to invite you to be a part of rewriting that story, of changing the dominant narrative of the community, where these kids breathe and live into hope. And we believe with God's help, we're going to do it. Will you join us?